What if the greatest upset in World Cup final history wasn't an upset at all? What if Brazil, a team with Ronaldo, the greatest player on the planet, the most feared attacking force in football, didn't lose that night because France was better? What if they lost because they never truly showed up? And what if someone made sure of that? I'm going to tell you something about that night that has never been fully explained. Something that football's biggest governing bodies have tried to bury. Something that players, doctors, and witnesses have hinted at for over 2 decades, but no one has ever been truly held accountable for. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll never watch a World Cup the same way again. Act 1. The night everything felt wrong. Let's go back to July 12, 1998. Brazil are the defending World Cup champions. They've won this tournament 4 times. They have Ronaldo, who, at 21 years old, is at the peak of his powers. He's just won the FIFA World Player of the Year for the 2nd consecutive time. He's bagged 4 goals in the tournament. He is, without question, the best player in the world. France, playing at home, are good. Zinedine Zidane is brilliant. But on paper, Brazil should win this. And yet, something is wrong long before kickoff. Hours before the match, the Brazilian team sheet is submitted, and Ronaldo's name is not on it. The squad, the press, the entire football world goes into shock. Then, roughly 72 minutes before kickoff, a revised team sheet is submitted. Ronaldo is back in. No explanation. No press conference. Just, he's in. Brazil lose 3-0. Zidane scores twice from headers. Ronaldo is a ghost. He barely touches the ball with intent. He misses chances he would have scored in his sleep. He looks like a man whose body simply isn't responding to the instructions his brain is sending. When the final whistle blows, grown men in yellow and green are crying on the pitch. Not the tears of a hard-fought defeat. Something else. Confusion. Emptiness. Like they don't know what just happened to them. Neither does the world. Act 2. The seizure nobody wanted to talk about. Here's what we know happened that afternoon in the team hotel. Ronaldo suffered what witnesses described as a convulsive seizure, a violent, physical episode that left him on the floor of his room, shaking, foaming, his body completely out of control. His roommate, Roberto Carlos, witnessed it and was terrified. Team doctors were called immediately. According to medical reports that later leaked, Ronaldo suffered from convulsions for approximately 1 minute. He was taken for medical evaluation. The medical staff cleared him to play. Why? The full reasoning was never made public. Now here's where it gets darker. The seizure wasn't a known condition. Ronaldo had never experienced anything like this before. No history of epilepsy. No prior neurological events. Perfectly healthy 21-year-old. Elite athlete. Peak physical condition. So what triggered it? The Brazilian Football Confederation gave no official explanation that satisfied doctors, journalists, or investigators. Their medical team's account of events was described by multiple sources as evasive and inconsistent. And here's the question that has haunted football ever since. What did Ronaldo eat or drink in the hours before that seizure? Look, if you're as deep into this as I am right now, do me one favor. Smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put weeks into finding the real story behind football's greatest mysteries. And what's coming in the next few minutes gets so much worse. Don't go anywhere. Act 3. The conspiracy that won't die. In the years that followed 1998, a theory began to circulate. Not in tabloids, not from cranks, but in serious investigative journalism circles and from credible Brazilian sources. That members of the French setup, or individuals with access to the Brazilian team's food and water supply, had administered a substance to key Brazilian players before the final. A substance designed not to kill, but to impair, to disorient, to turn a lion into a lamb for 90 minutes. Former Brazilian striker Edmundo, who was at that World Cup, publicly stated that he believed something was seriously wrong that night and that the team's performance was not normal. He stopped short of making a direct accusation, but the implication was unmistakable. Even more chilling, years after the final, a French documentary resurfaced footage and interviews suggesting that the Brazilian team's hotel catering had access points that were not fully secured. That people outside the official Brazilian delegation had movement near the team's food preparation areas. Was this sabotage? Was it doping, but pointed inward, against the opposition rather than toward performance enhancement? It has never been proven. But here's the thing about things that have never been proven. Sometimes, they haven't been proven because nobody with real power truly wanted to find out. FIFA launched no formal investigation into the events of July 12, 1998. No independent toxicology review of the Brazilian players was ever conducted from that night. The medical files from the team hotel have never been made fully public. 26 years later, we still don't know what happened to Ronaldo that afternoon. Act 4. What Ronaldo himself said. In 2002, Ronaldo won the World Cup with Brazil. Famously, emotionally, as if he was exorcising a demon. He scored twice in the final against Germany. He wept. The world wept with him. In interviews after that 2002 triumph, Ronaldo was pressed, again, about 1998. About the seizure. About the team sheet drama. About that ghostly performance. And he said something remarkable. He said he didn't fully remember the final. That his memory of playing was fragmented. That it felt like a dream. Not a good dream. Like being underwater. Think about what that means for a second. A 21-year-old elite athlete, at the peak of his powers, playing in the World Cup final, and he can barely remember it. His body was on the pitch. His mind was somewhere else entirely. That is not nerves. That is not tactical failure. That is not being outplayed. That is a man describing, without knowing it, the textbook symptoms of someone who has been chemically compromised. The verdict. Here's what I believe, after everything. We may never get a confession. We may never get a court case. The files may never be opened. The people who know what happened that night in St. Denis may take it to their graves. But football deserves to know the truth. Because if what happened to Brazil in 1998 was not natural, if that seizure, that performance, that ghost of Ronaldo on the pitch was the result of deliberate interference, then the most watched sporting event in human history was stolen. Not won. Stolen. And the trophy sitting in France is not just a trophy. It is evidence. Football has never been just a game. And 1998 proved it may never have been just a competition either. The question isn't whether you believe the conspiracy. The question is, why haven't we been given enough information to dismiss it? If you think football's biggest secrets deserve to be exposed, subscribe right now. Every week I go deep into the stories they don't want you to know. And next week, we're covering the match-fixing scandal that reached all the way to a World Cup semi-final. You don't want to miss that one.